My boyfriend, 29 meters, and I, 26F, are currently long distance. We take turns visiting each other. He came to see me after almost 2 months of seeing each other. We finally were to make plans. I requested to have 5 days, which was approved from my job. I've worked there for 6 years. It was after my shift, and I was heading out quickly. I had to pick my BF up from the airport. I clocked out, and while I was saying bye, my new boss of 2 weeks stopped me, and he asked if I could cover a shift. Since one of my co-workers called in sick, we are short-staffed, and he needs me to stay for a couple hours more. I had a 10-hour shift. I was exhausted. I responded, no, I'm sorry, but I'm unable to, and I can't stay late. I have covered it before. I don't mind, but I had somewhere to be. I mentioned I was picking up someone at the airport. He told me they could take an Uber. My boyfriend wouldn't be happy with me if I did with him. Also, he has no key to my apartment. No one else wanted to stay, and I was the third person he asked to that said no. I said sorry, I can't, just tonight another time. He called me a lousy worker, and I'm not a team player. I said, guess I'm not a team player, and I walked past him. I called out, I'll see him in 5 days. While driving to the airport, I kept getting calls and texts from him. It got so bad that I had to pull over to turn off my phone. My boss wanted to come back to work. I had to turn on my phone so my boyfriend could contact me. My phone was flooded with text messages. Ding after ding. I think I got close to 15 texts. I blocked his number. I was so happy to see my BF. I was getting emails from him like constantly when I was supposed to be my time off. I don't respond to, and I rarely take vacation. 1. He was asking me stuff that I didn't know the answer to. Second, even if I did, I'm not telling him. I don't know. I was starting to get petty. I still had fun with my boyfriend. When I went to work, my boss called into his office. He blew up at me for being unprofessional, and he's still new to this job. I should have helped, or at least replied to the emails. I responded other people cold helped him. It's not my responsibility when it's my vacation time. I got my first write-up ever. Is this something I'm missing? Did I do something inherently wrong here? I'm actually considering to report him. He is still new to his job. Am I the asshole? Edit. I'm Canadian. I live in BC. Update. I just sent an email to my hours with all the emails, tax call logs, and any other evidence I have. My job isn't like on call point, so I don't understand why he was bothering me. He is my age roughly. On a happier note, me and my boyfriend are planning to move in together. Edit. I'm a security guard at a departmental store. I like my job. Ours is setting a meeting up for tomorrow with me and my boss. My boss tried asking me out in his first week of working, but I told him down nicely. Edit. Thank you for everyone's support. When I posted this, I thought I was being a little dramatic. I'm glad I'm not the crazy one. I decided that I'm gonna look for a new job. I still wanna do security work, but I'm just gonna move on. Don't worry, I'm still going to complain about my boss and report him. NTA. You are on vacation. You are not obligated in any way to work on your vacation. I would go 2 hours to get that right up off your record. Exactly. Go to human resources. I have to wonder if it is illegal to punish someone for not working when they are on leave in Canada. What your boss did was highly problematic. Tell us about him calling you a lousy employee too, simply because you declined his demands to work late. He was harassing you. Edit. Also, I have to wonder if you were the only person that he harassed. If you were THR third person who declined, but the only person who he harassed and wrote up, I have to wonder if he saw you as easy prey. Were you the only woman that he asked? NTA. Just to satisfy my own curiosity, did he continuously harass anyone else during those 5 days, or just you? This has no bearing on your NTA status, but possibly on how big of an R he is. I actually don't know. NTA. You need to elevate this 2 hours. Your boss doesn't get to impede on your vacation time, unless your contract states that you have to be available 24/7. He crossed major lines and needs to be held accountable for it. Your manager sounds like a terrible manager. If I were his boss, I would be very concerned that 1. He harassed a long-standing employee during her planned and approved vacation. 2. He had failed to organize how the team would work in your planned absence. 3. He failed to organize a proper handover from you prior to your planned absence. 4. He threw a temper tantrum against one of his subordinates rather than fixing the problem at hand with the resources he had available. How would he have handled things if you had, say, had to suddenly go into hospital? Present the case against him like that. You're worried that this guy will hurt the company through mismanagement. NTA. I'd take this up with his boss or ours. Calls, texts, emails, and name calling are harassment. In my country, not the US, I'm pretty sure what he did is illegal. NTA. Report that behavior, and I hope you kept the texts, emails and call logs as proof. Many companies are very strict that you do not work off the clock. Even if it were PTO, you didn't specify, but I wanted you to know it's even in that case. That behavior was harassment and you should not have been retaliated against with a write-up. OP is Canadian as well, and we have very strict labor laws regarding off-the-clock work. Take it over his head. Report him. Have all your proof. Texts, emails, everything. His behavior was severely inappropriate. NTA. NTA. What he did is unethical. He is a lousy boss with incredibly poor boundaries. Get yourself straight 2 hours and report him for harassing you on your vacation time. I would also formally request that time off be reallocated to you as you had to spend it worrying about your boss's reaction. In the US what he did would be a violation of labor law. Because he wrote you up for essentially taking your earned vacation, that would be considered workplace retaliation. You really do need to report him. I guarantee you're not the only one he's doing this to, and it will only get worse. If you were the third person to say no to taking over that shift, what did he do to the first 2 who said no? Did he harass them too? Did he only do it to you because he knows that you are a team player and more likely to cave? Either way he's an ass, but it might be interesting to know which kind of *** you're dealing with. NTA. Contact the labor board. That write-up is not okay. Also, tell your manager you're doing so as you're worried that the excessive amount of contact outside of work hours without compensation might be contractual tenuous, and you want to make sure everything is legally sound in terms of Canadian employment law. https://www.canada.ca/n/employment social development/services/labor contact.html. This is the way everyone's saying to contact ours, but they are not there to help you. Contact the labor board first before contacting ours. Record all the texts and calls in the write-up he gave you. NTA. If there's an avenue for reporting him, you should definitely do so. Every place I've worked, vacation has been treated as sacrosanct. For him to outright harass you while you're on vacation is ridiculous. NTA. This man absolutely needs to not have this job anymore. If he thinks any of this was remotely professional, I would have done the same exact thing you did. Blockety block block. Document all his texts, calls and emails, and send them straight to ours, swiftly. NTA. You're on time off. You are under no obligation to respond to him. In fact, in some jurisdictions, being written up under these circumstances could be deemed illegal. It might be worth looking up your local laws to determine this, or complain to HR/his boss in writing. If you take this step, document everything and keep communications in writing, text/email. If he was more polite, I'd be inclined to say keep your contact open and be useful where plausible and convenient on your terms. However, with the details given, he can figure it out on his own. Trial by fire. He'd probably have done it to you sooner than later anyway. Fellow Canadian, yeah right, report him. You're NTA and you did nothing wrong. He needs to pull his head out of his ass. You stated that you clocked out, indicating you're hourly, and you written up while on vacation. NTA. Report him. NTA, and by all means report him to ours, because you don't deserve to have his stupid complaint in your file. You made perfectly clear that you weren't available on your vacation and he shouldn't have been pestering you. Keep all those texts and emails to show to ours. Unless your job specifically required you be available off your work hours, they were wildly inappropriate. NTA. You have shifts, You have working hours? He wants you to cover up past that? Yeah, he can ask. And once you say no, that's it. Then, it's harassment. Info, you mentioned being Canadian in your edit. Are you in Ontario? If so, there's new right to disconnect laws that your boss is surely breaking by writing you up. Do not sign off on the write-up, or make note that, if you did, it was under duress. Contact your hours, or the labor board, and explain what happened. Source for the right to disconnect, https://www.ontario.ca/document/your guide Employment Standards Act 0/written policy disconnecting from work. Edit, NTA. The comments below mention WorkSafe BC, and some more specific information surrounding your province. Best of luck op. I'm in BC. Definitely report him. Dude is a D*******, and has no right to your off time. You know full well that, if he were on vacation, he would be unreachable. What he did was wrong. You should report him. NTA. I noticed someone else asked if you were the only woman he asked to work later, and then proceeded to harass. I'd be interested in the answer to that, because it could rise to the level of sexual harassment if the company does nothing about it. You might want to let ours know the names of the other people he approached about working later, if you know them, get it on record in case he's a serial harasser. I would say we are 50-50. Being a boss means picking up the slack when short-staffed. Plain and simple. NTA. Carrot this, managers are supposed to work in any position that can't be filled if something happens. That's why they get higher salaries. NTA. I would report him to ours for harassment. NTA. He was the one being unprofessional. This is harassment and intimidation. He should be held accountable for this level of BS, so I highly recommend going to the higher ups. If this is how your new manager starts off their working relationship with you, I can only imagine how shitty it could get if this sort of behavior isn't stopped right away. Report him. NTA. Edit. There's no reason why he shouldn't lose his job. I honestly have to go with NTA. You worked your shift and no one should make you feel guilty or make any comments for not wanting to stay longer. And on your vacation time, well, it's just that, vacation time. Is there a higher up you can speak to? He seems out of line. NTA. And you should report him. It's not okay to harass employees off the clock. If he needs your help so badly, maybe he shouldn't be a manager. Boss is not used to dealing with boundaries. You are not the R. Exactly. Plus he's been there for 2 weeks and claims op is not a team player for refusing to work on her holiday time. He definitely has something against Opus. NTA. Go to ours with your documented harassment and insist that your write-up be removed. What your boss did is unethical *at best and possibly illegal at worst, but that would require seeking legal advice. NTA. Your new boss was basically harassing you with his constant calls/texts. Report this to ours. Besides, you clocked out and on vacation. Peace. When you make your complaint, really emphasize the large number of contacts. So, not he rang me multiple times, rather give the total number, and do a .point list of each call in terms of date and time. Make it very clear that it wasn't one particular point in time. List the text messages in the same way, and have images of the texts underneath, or in an appendix. Don't scrunch the screenshots to fit them in normal size. Same with the emails. List the out in detail, create PDFs of them, and create an appendix. Complain internally and externally. Being investigated by an external authority can motivate internal processes into action and bring it to the attention of people higher in the organization. Go to your hour department with all the texts, phone calls, and emails and file a formal complaint against your boss and insist that the write-up be removed from your file. 1000% NTA. I too am Canadian, and while it's been a few years since I managed a store, who all remembers movie gallery? Lol. There are processes that need to happen before being written up. Did you receive a still bullshit verbal warning at all? If your hours does nothing, move on to the Labor Board and the Better Business Bureau of Canada. I do believe changes to schedules, unless there is some on-call clause in your employment contract, require a minimum set of time, so that's another notch against this write-up nonsense. Other comments have touched on a bunch of other things that are ring very true. Harassment, expectations of responding while driving. Distracted driving is damn near the only thing you get pulled over for where I live. Stop signs be damned. So hopefully you get some resolution up. 6 years is some significant investment on your part, and it'll be that company's loss if some power tripping dumbass is more important.